This commercial-free knowledge presentation is supported by you.
This is the demilitarized zone that separates North Korea from South Korea. And it's well protected with heavy barbed wire fences, minefields, and it is meant to prevent any incursions by the enemy. And as you can see, it's still serious business. This is a South Korean guard post in the demilitarized zone, and it's a very tranquil and quiet place. But that really belies the truth, because less than 2 kilometers away is North Korea. And beyond their borders are more than 1 million North Korean soldiers who are poised to potentially attack the South. And on the southern side, more than 600,000 South Korean soldiers are awaiting such an eventuality. But what's amazing about these hills is that in 1951 to 1953, more than 20,000 Canadians served here, exactly in this position.
The night seems to be so long, you think the sun is never going to come up. You imagined all kinds of things in the dark. I mean, you're standing there by yourself, and the other guy in a slit trench. Your nerves keep you on edge because you know that there are people out there. It's a waiting game and you're waiting for the inevitable.
We're driving through Seoul, and Seoul is one huge, vibrant city. It's very modern. I don't see any buildings that date over 30 years, more or less any will date back to the Korean War. All I've seen of Seoul are the old archival photographs, which really shows the place as a ruin. So it's going to be interesting to try to find out what remnants of the Korean War we can find. This is the National Cemetery in Seoul, and it's an enormous and beautiful place, and you can see why they call it the spirit of the nation. We often think of the Korean War as being somewhat small. When you come here and see the enormity of the suffering of the Korean people, you get a better understanding. There's a building just ahead that is even more poignant. It's the Memorial to the Missing. This is a very moving place. It lists the names of more than 100,000 South Korean troops who were missing during the Korean War. And what's even more powerful is this, the floral tributes, the photographs of the soldiers. These men have not been forgotten. During the Korean War, 21 nations, including Canada, came to assist South Korea. But the question remains, why were Canadians fighting in a country that no one had ever heard of? In August 1945, the Americans dropped atomic bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and the Second World War came to an end. But the period afterwards became one of turbulence, as our old ally Joseph Stalin started to absorb countries in Eastern Europe. And an Iron Curtain descended across that area, and it appeared that war was going to occur. In 1949, Mao Zedong's communists defeated the Chinese nationalists, and the focus of the Cold War turned to Asia. There was a possibility of war between Communist China and Formosa, but no one dreamed anything would happen in Korea. But they were wrong. This is the grave of a South Korean soldier killed on June 26, 1950. He was one of thousands of South Korean soldiers killed in the North Korean invasion.
The Asiatic crisis point becomes Korea. Korea and its southern capital, Seoul, where violent warfare reached its peak following invasion from the Red-dominated north. The Blitz-like attack slightly more than 700 air miles from Tokyo saw the Russian-backed North Korean army roll down past the 38th parallel, the line of demarcation between the communist stronghold and the Southern Republic. In the capitals of the globe, there were undisguised uneasiness and grave concern that here might be the prelude to a wider atomic conflict.
The UN immediately condemns the brutal invasion and demands a complete withdrawal of all communist forces. The North Koreans ignore the warning, and by the 27th, they are poised to capture the South Korean capital of Seoul. This is the Han River, and today it separates North Seoul from South Seoul. But in 1950, Seoul was a much smaller city, and it was completely on the north side. And there was only one bridge across the Han River. In late June 1950, the civilian population heard about the great successes of the North Korean invading army, and panic set in, and their only way out was this bridge. Throughout June 26th and June 27th, tens of thousands of refugees crossed this bridge, fleeing to the south. By the 27th, it was clear that Seoul was going to fall to the North Koreans. And although the bridge was full of thousands of refugees, the South Korean army had to make the hard decision to blow the bridge. The destruction of the Han River Bridge kills more than 800 South Koreans, but stops the North Korean tanks from advancing. Now, those remaining in Seoul are trapped and at the mercy of the approaching communists. Among them is a 22-year-old student, Kap'yong.
That morning, before noon, I didn't know. Rumor is around the Han River gone, exploded. And then, no way out. Now I cannot get out. Around 10 o'clock on the street, tanks coming, so everybody, now the North Korean here. So many bodies in town, and they cut up the bamboo shoot, they kill them. They don't need any ammunition. Only I saw 2 eyes out by the bamboo shoot. I saw them.